Ronda, do you think you could beat Holly Holm without using your grappling?
I think I could beat every girl in my division with one hand.
Everything is special about Ronda Rousey. Ronda Rousey is the greatest athlete I've ever worked with.
Considering the fact that Dana White said that females would never fight in the octagon.
Never.
Never?
Never. It's pretty incredible what she's been able to do.
Ronda Rousey is kind of like a female Terminator that, you know, is relentless and feels no mercy, feels no pain, no remorse, no pity.
She's the Michael Jordan of her sport.
I would say Ronda Rousey has definitely rewritten the book on what a fighter looks like.
You don't expect pretty girls to be able to kick butt like that.
She is a beauty and she can tame the beast.
I don't get ready, I stay ready. I'm the best in the world every single day of the year.
I don't look at Ronda Rousey as a female athlete. I just look at her as one of the best in the business of sports.
What makes me so confident that I can win is I'm the greatest fighter in the world. I truly believe it.
I remember going to the fight and I was like, I will bet you money that her fight will be short enough to be able to put on Instagram. The guy behind me was like, are you joking? I was like, told you.
Let's go. She's got that heart of a lion, that desire to do anything to be the best.
You're the champ.
That would be.
Ronda takes that same mentality to everything that she does, whether that's movies, whether that's writing her book.
She's basically transcended the sport.
There's nothing that I would think would be more difficult than getting in the octagon. That's the hard part. This Hollywood crap, psh, she got that.
It's very rare when you can blend the physicality and this blatant honesty. She's something that has never been seen before.
I could do that. You want to slip on a dress and give it a shot?
When you're able to put the hard work in like she does, people appreciate and want to see you succeed. They want to see you do other things and conquer other mediums.
What is the longest anybody's ever lasted in the ring with you?
The first couple seconds of the third round.
And what was his name? What impresses me most about Ronda is she's a good role model.
I think Ronda really is expanding the idea of woman.
Ronda is all about embracing who you are, being yourself. You know, you can't do nothing.
I'm not a do-nothing bitch. The kind of chick that just tries to be pretty and be taken care of by somebody else.
Ronda's stepping out of the mold where she's saying women can be as strong as men.
And I think she's going to go all the way. She's going to break new grounds every single day.
And who better to headline the UFC's biggest event in history than the UFC's biggest star? Australia's Etihad Stadium in Melbourne will be the site of UFC 193 as a record 70,000 fans will fill in to witness history being made.
This is awesome.
This event marks a seismic shift, not only in sports, but for women, period.
And I want to show the world why I am the best.
Ronda Rousey, the UFC's most dominant fighter, will meet the biggest threat to the 135-pound crown.
She's the greatest challenge I've ever had.
19-time world boxing champion Holly Holm. And the build-up is as big as the event itself. Follow these elite mixed martial arts competitors through their lives and training camps, leading up to Fight Night in Melbourne. This is UFC Embedded. She is now undoubtedly the most famous fighter, man or woman, in the UFC. But Ronda Rousey has stayed true to her Southern California roots. the 6-time world champion and Olympic medalist still lives in Venice Beach, the same town that Arnold Schwarzenegger immortalized when he won 6 straight Mr. Olympia titles in the 1970s.
Venice has always been a place for outrageousness. If it is the artists, if it is the writers, movie people, athletes, and so on.
I tell people all the time I love living in Venice because I actually feel like, you know, I'm at the normal level of crazy, and I'm just normal there. Street art is, you know, an important part of the culture. I love the walls there, where it's like, it's legal to just go and paint on the walls, and so the walls are different like every day. I grew up seeing Jim Morrison and all these people that are like legendary locals that went out and made their mark.
But the newest addition to Venice's eclectic collection of street art is something that hit very close to home.
Such a huge compliment. I've always been so proud to be from there. And to see the community's proud of me back, it's nice to get a little bit of requited love sometimes.
Before Rousey paved the way for females in mixed martial arts, her mother, Anne Maria, was a trailblazer in the world of judo. She was the first American, male or female, to win a world championship in the sport, and bestowed her knowledge on Rousey at a young age. Ronda, it turned out, was a natural.
When I was doing judo as a kid, my mom always taught me that the best time to throw a person was the first second of the match. To come in right away, right off the bell, and transition. I realized on the ground that all these separate moves were actually connected together, and that the end of one was the beginning of another one.
That realization, paired with years of dedication and perseverance, would eventually lead Rousey to the top of the sport, where she represented her country in back-to-back Olympic Games. In 2008, she became the first American woman to medal in judo, securing the bronze in Beijing. When Ronda Rousey entered the MMA world, she quickly realized the skills she had honed her entire life would translate into sheer dominance.
Everyone who fights Rousey knows what's coming. No one has been able to defend it.
She is just spectacular. She is better than she's ever been before, and she was already the best.
Rousey remains undefeated in the sport, and along with longtime head trainer Edmond Tarverdian, plans to stay that way for years to come.
We're both very passionate about what we do.
Beautiful right hand.
And that student and trainer relationship, we understand it very well.
To both of us, it's the most important thing in the world. And it's not just a hobby, it's not just a way to make money. Coaching is his life, and fighting is my life.
We have a history and legacy together that needs to be, I would say it's not even made yet. It needs to be made, and we're still making it.
Well, we're always looking outside the promotion for men and women. And yeah, obviously, you know, you want to find the greatest talent in the world. I heard about Holly Holm. It starts with this swell from the hardcore fans. Holly used to box, and she won every legitimate world title that you can win in boxing, from the WBC, the WBA, the IBA, the list goes on and on.
Once again, Holly Holm knocking off another legend of women's boxing.
I followed her career because she was so explosive and fast and strong and determined.
She had a lot of experience. She filled up a lot of stadiums. She was like the hottest girl out there for some time.
She's definitely one of the top fighters in our sport. Winning world titles, taking the women's boxing world by storm.
What a performance, and what
a legendary career.
Then she came into MMA and fought in a very credible promotion called Legacy. And she was winning by head kick knockouts.
Holly Holm wins a mixed martial arts championship, and my word!
People were screaming for us to sign Holly Holm to fight Ronda Rousey.
As Ronda Rousey was learning the ways of judo and living in California's famed Muscle Beach, a young Holly Holm was already well on her way to a life of competition. 800 miles to the east and more than 5,000 feet above sea level.
Growing up, I played soccer. I was very competitive with gymnastics. Every summer, I was on a competitive swim league here and started getting into kickboxing and doing that my senior year in high school.
I had quite a few different kickboxing martial arts schools back in the day, and Holly walked into one of my classes. She was 16 years old. She just wanted to do some conditioning.
A lot of the aerobics classes would be either before or after a sparring class, so if I got there early, I'd watch the sparring classes. It just looked like a ton of fun.
The first day she sparred, she pretty much got beat up, but she threw back hard. I knew she had something inside her that wanted her to fight. And to this day, Holly's never turned down a fight, and she's willing to go forward and accept any challenge, just like this fight.
And whether her opponent is Ronda Rousey or any of the other 39 women she fought professionally, both Holly and Coach Wink have a steadfast belief in victory.
She's been under the lights, the pressure before. There's holes in Ronda's game. The cage door's gonna close, and people will find out.
Let them feel their false security in what they have planned. I'm just gonna go and do what I'm best at. I wanna win.
Today, Ronda Rousey is the highest profile fighter in the UFC. In the last 2 years, she has gone from champion to Hollywood star and even sex symbol. But her road to where she is today was not without difficulty. While growing up and competing in judo, Rousey struggled with health and weight issues that nearly sidelined her career.
Judo is a sport that has weight divisions. So when I was fighting 57 kilos, I started having trouble making weight. I would wake up in the morning and eat a stack of 10 fudge shop cookies, a glass of milk, and then I would like hate myself. And the only way that I could live with myself the rest of the day is if I went threw it up.
Despite her ongoing battle with an eating disorder, Rousey would reach the top of the judo world, securing an Olympic medal. But that didn't mean that she would be able to live a glamorous or even comfortable lifestyle.
It sucks because you work so hard and you just convince yourself like, oh, I'll win the Olympics, everything's gonna be okay. But my Olympic medal paid for half of a 05 Honda Accord LX with 40,000 miles on it. It was like, you devoted your life to this? Awesome. Have 10 grand, but we're gonna tax you on that. An Olympic medal doesn't change your life. It changes your month, and then real life starts again. I went and got some bartending jobs and was kind of really struggling to make ends meet, and I would see MMA on TV all the time, and I would talk to my customers like, he's doing that wrong, he's doing that wrong, they should do that, and I could totally do that, and they would look at me like I was crazy, and it was so frustrating to know that you're the best in the world at something and no one believes you.
Today, everyone on the planet believes that Ronda Rousey is the best in the world. And training camps, like the one 3 months ago for UFC 190, attract visitors that provide direct evidence of that fact.
You're the champ.
Proud to be. Thank you.
See you shortly.
Yes, you will. Thank you, Mike.
Leading into the UFC 190 title defense, it seemed as if Rousey had the deck stacked against her. She would be facing an undefeated Brazilian in Rio de Janeiro. Her opponent even went so far as to make rash comments about Rousey's father, who tragically took his own life when Ronda was just 8 years old.
That's when it really crossed the line. She disrespected the greatest tragedy that my family has ever gone through.
Growing up, Ronda Rousey was his daughter's biggest supporter and told her that she could be anything, even a superhero. So when her UFC 190 opponent laughed about his death, it crossed the line far beyond fight promotion.
It's not a funny thing to laugh at, ever. And suicide is some serious. And I don't forget things like that. I don't forgive things like that.
But the champ, as the best in the world do, found motivation where others would be broken. And when the Brazilian fans adopted her as their own, it strengthened her resolve even further.
It's just so heartwarming to be so pleasantly surprised and to be so welcomed with such a big heart by such an amazing people. I'm really humbled by today, and after I beat Betch, I hope they still feel the same way.
When you watch Ronda Rousey fight, it doesn't just seem like a fight. It seems like some sort of historical event that you have the privilege of watching live.
I feel a storm coming.
She disrespected my family.
If you want to touch gloves, touch them now. Good, step back, good luck to both.
I will make her pay.
Ronda's teeing off on her here.
Ronda trying to finish it early. She's in trouble. Ronda with the knee now. Petchko has big trouble. It is all over. Just like that.
It seemed like after the stoppage, you turned around and said something to Betch.
I said the exact same thing she was saying to me at the weigh-ins. She was saying, "Don't cry." So I turned around to her after I knocked her out and I said, "Don't cry."
That, my friends, is the greatest in the world. And we haven't found a close second yet.
I was really happy and satisfied with my last win, and it's kind of funny how amazing it always feels and how quickly it always wears off, and I need to do it again.
Though he began with Holly Holm in the pro boxing world, Mike Winklejohn is most well known to mixed martial arts fans as the striking coach of former UFC champion Jon Jones. This meant Holm was exposed to mixed martial arts during her entire career as a boxer. And once she had the itch to become pro in MMA, there was no looking back.
Holly's ultimate goal coming to MMA is win the world title. That's it.
Keep moving, Holly, keep moving.
That's the ultimate goal. If you don't want to fight the best, then what are you even doing in this sport?
There you go.
In order to be the best, you have to fight the best.
And it was very clear, even when Holly got into the sport, who that was.
Don't do too many second steps, you know what I mean? Just have fun. Okay. Thanks. Cool, coach. Pretty much from day one, we figured it was gonna be Ronda. She was dominating everybody.
Nice straight left.
We didn't really see her getting beat by anybody.
People seemed to be years behind her as far as understanding her game and her aggressiveness.
But Holm wasn't the only one with her eyes on a future opponent.
Not sitting with my eyes closed at the top of the hill. The day she started doing MMA, I just knew that our paths were going to cross at some point. Holly, I knew she was coming years before she did. She thinks she's had her eye on me a long time, but I've had my eye on her.
The scary part about Ronda Rousey is the evolution of her game is still happening.
All right, Ronda, it's your time.
Every time Ronda Rousey fights, then leaves and goes for another camp, she comes back better than she was last time. It's not her ability just to go in and beat great fighters. She actually goes in and destroys them.
In fact, Rousey has fought a total of 2 minutes and 10 seconds in her last 4 fights combined. That's an average of 32.5 seconds per fight. There's never been anything like it.
She's in her prime right now. Ronda Rousey's in her physical fighting prime right now.
From the looks of her, you would never believe that Holly Holm would be locked inside of an octagon in front of 70,000 people on fight night. Even stranger, she leads a pretty normal life, happily married to her husband Jeff of 3 years. She grew up 30 minutes south of Albuquerque, in the small town of Bosque Farms, where her father Robert was a preacher at the Church of Christ for 18 years. So when she told her father that she wanted to get into fighting, his reaction was a bit surprising.
My dad always says everybody has a little fighter in them, and no matter what it is, everybody's got a passion and they fight for something in their life.
To this day, her father has been one of her biggest supporters, and Holly has even adopted the moniker, the preacher's daughter. And as she stands ready to face Ronda Rousey for a UFC world title, Holly Holm looks back at those who have been with her along the way.
No career in fighting can be where it's at without a ton of support. Number one, I have a lot of family and friends supporting me along the way, outside of the gym. I have a coach that just had full belief and faith in me and taught me great. With all that support, it takes a lot of self-motivation, ambition, and drive to do it on your own. Nobody can run for you. Nobody can actually do the work for you. They can help you, but that took a lot of self-push.
This is kind of like the perfect storm. You have the most popular MMA fighter on the planet today with Ronda. And then you have one of the most dangerous fighters in boxing and MMA in Holly Holm. Holly Holm brings height. She has the reach advantage. Most importantly, she knows how to use it.
She's like a master of range and distance. She's good at keeping people outside of her range. She picks people apart from the outside, and Ronda's never faced an opponent like that before.
From a striking perspective, she has to really use her jab and try to keep her on the outside.
She's gonna wait for you to make mistakes. She's gonna capitalize. It's not gonna be easy for Ronda. This is gonna be her toughest test ever.
If Holly beats Ronda Rousey, she'll be the only one to ever hold a World Boxing Championship and a UFC title. Nobody's ever done that, male or female.
Let's get warmed up, Holly.
Yeah. I guess my first few amateur fights, I really didn't run like a whole lot.
No, you didn't.
No. And Mr. Winklejohn got me into running, and he'd bring me up here, and I would cry. Like, real tears would be coming down my face because it'd be so painful. Literally crying.
You were terrible. You wouldn't push it.
I, like, couldn't run a mile.
Things are quite different these days, as Holly and Coach Wink have now trained in the Sandia Mountains hundreds of times. The elevation, more than 10,000 feet at its peak, has a way of hardening focus, making one battle ready.
80% of my run, I'm thinking about my fight. If I'm in this bad position, this is what I'm gonna do. I picture myself winning. I picture myself behind in a fight and having to come back. That way, when you get in there, it's not like it's the first time you've thought about it.
As the pair knows, in order to defeat the only women's 135-pound champion in UFC history,
a little faster, there you go.
Everything must come together.
I say I believe I can beat her. Never said it's easy. You can't let your guard down for 2 seconds and make a mistake.
It's the end of all we know.
All these girls are coming out with something different.
Do we hold on or let go?
The last chick I fought thought that she had heavier hands than me, and I failed her.
Watch me as I climb the throne.
And Holly's banking on having better footwork and distance.
Till the night is gone.
She's wrong, too.
She has a champion's heart. We've seen that.
Your punching power is so strong. See what happens? They get desperate for a takedown.
When it's fight time, she's gonna perform those abilities even more than what we see here.
You can try and scratch and claw and do whatever you can to me, but I'm still gonna win.
Ronda Rousey has been the only female 135-pound champion in UFC history. And she is adored by people of all ages, genders, and backgrounds. Today, Reebok presented the champ with athletic tape imprinted with words of inspiration written by her fans.
Ronda loves all her fans. It touches her heart.
I gotta stop reading them.
You know, you see those tears in Ronda's eyes. It touches my heart too. She's an amazing champion.
With an army of support behind her, it's not surprising that Rousey is expected to win in front of 70,000 fans at UFC 193. But 13 years into a pro career, with over 40 fights and 19 world boxing titles, Holly Holm believes the experience she's had along the way will give her what she needs for the upset.
She's got a great self-esteem. She's driven and she believes. She's been in wars, she's been in long fights, and that's where we want to put Ronda. Late into the rounds and make her suffer a little bit and say, wow, this girl's not as easy as all these other girls I fought.
I think a lot of these girls almost are defeated before they get in there. I'm not going for a participation ribbon. I'm going for the gold, and that should be everybody's goal.
And as Holly Holm looks forward to victory, the thought of bringing home the belt for Coach Wink and all those who have supported her is all the motivation she needs.
I want to make their time worth something. I want to make them proud. The time away from my husband, him too. I want to make him proud, and you know, for my whole career, my coaches have been there the whole way, and I want it for them just as much as they want it for me.
My coach said, I get it, Holly, you just want to climb a new mountain, and that's what I want to do. You know, I've been boxing for 11 years, and I want to climb a new mountain.
Bright future for Holly Holm. Wow, that was incredible.
I'm here with the winner, Holly Holm. First of all, Holly, welcome to the UFC.
Finally!
On our way, Holly, it's gonna happen. Wow. That's about it. When she wins world title, just wow.
UFC champion Ronda Rousey's unprecedented success has made an impact that goes far beyond her individual career. It has even had an effect in Poland, of all places. Seeing the value in Rousey and the 135-pound division, the UFC introduced another weight class entirely, strawweight, or 115 pounds. And Olsztyn's Joanna Jedrzejczyk immediately made her mark.
Oh, you speak English very well, huh? Hi. You like MMA?
And since becoming champion in March, she has become a star in her own right. Enough so that the UFC selected Jedrzejczyk for the co-main event slot in Melbourne.
Kill it.
Where she will defend her title just before Rousey and Holm go at it.
The same gonna happen to her, what happened to all of them.
They're trusting us to try and break the attendance record. I mean, it's becoming more than just about sports and just about fighting. And there really is history being made for women all over the world right now.
She's not just a role model for other female fighters anymore. She's a role model for all of the fighters. I can see a little bit of myself in Ronda, and we're just going hard, and our opponents can still dream about our belts, but they can just dream, you know. We are too hard for them, you know, that's all.
I can feel really good in the octagon. I was born for it, I think.
Joanna Jedrzejczyk is one of the nastiest stand-up fighters you will ever see. Her stand-up is unbelievable.
And again, and again, and again, and still. And I'm gonna be a champion for a while.
She fears nothing. Her hands are as good or better than any of the men here in the UFC.
When I'm in the octagon, I go crazy.
She comes forward, guns a-blazing, and tries to finish you.
Are they ready for me? No.
She's a fighter's fighter.
Joanna's one of those fighters that go in there to make a point. She goes in there to eliminate the person in such a devastating fashion that they'll never come back. She's the kind of fighter that I really admire. She's going in there to finish you. And that's what it really should be about.
And she is asking who is next.
Nobody gonna take this belt from me.
But Joanna's UFC 193 opponent, current challenger Valérie Létourneau, begs to differ.
Valérie Létourneau is one of the best in the world in that division. The thing that makes her scary is she's bigger than most of the women in that division. She actually fought at 135 pounds, and she got down to 115 pounds.
Montreal's own Valérie Létourneau.
In the pocket, bites down on her mouthpiece, and slinging leather.
So she is a massive 115-pounder. She's bigger than Joanna. She's bigger than all these girls. She's tough. She can punch. She's well-rounded.
That's a head kick. There it is.
She is a very, very tough fight for Joanna or anybody else at 115 pounds.
Now residing in Coconut Creek, Florida, the French-Canadian-born Létourneau has certain responsibilities. Unlike the other three women at the top of UFC 193's main card, that go far beyond martial arts training. But that does not mean her goals are any different.
Maybe. I had Gabby, I was 19 years old, so I had her my whole life. I've never lived without a kid. It was harder when she was younger. A baby needs 24 hours. You need to keep their eye on them. I cannot say I'm gonna take a 5-minute walk. She has to come with me. At the same time, she's my biggest motivation.
She takes that motivation with her day in and day out to the famed American Top Team, the home of UFC welterweight champion Robbie Lawler, and exactly where a woman seeking greatness would want to be.
American Top Team, we get a lot of fighters come from a lot of other teams that train here.
We have Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belts, world champions. We have amazing wrestlers from all over the country. We can build anybody to fight anyone.
All right, Val. Get loose with your jab, your footwork, and let's just start thinking about the two. Look, just ones and twos. There you go. Don't push that jab. Snap that jab. Snap that jab. Don't stay there. Once you jab and move. That's it. And keep moving right there. Let's see that in and out one. There you go. And then right back move. There you go. Right back to distance. Nice one. There you go. Touch, 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 move on. Valerie just has that mentality and that toughness that really, you know, we teach technique, but the old saying goes, man, fighters are born and not made. You know, Valerie's a born fighter. Inside, there you go. And then right back, keep on the move. You're moving the whole time. You're fainting, you're moving. Nice job. Good finish to the round.
Polish-born Joanna Jedrzejczyk is now UFC strawweight champion. But well before venturing into MMA, she was a 6-time world champion in Muay Thai, with nearly 100 fights to her name.
Jak w porównaniu lewa, prawa?
Prawa mocniej, ale lewa też boli.
There's no doubt she is a born fighter. And after winning the belt in March, the idea of scaling back her schedule, like some champions have done, was not going to fly.
Jak odchylasz, to ręka wysoko, nie weszło. Dwa, idziemy 2 lewe. Pum, pum, raz, 2 i dwójka z prawem. Hopa, pum, pum, pum.
When I became a champion in March 2015, after the fight, I just said to my manager that, hey, come on, man, I cannot fight twice in a year. I want to fight more often because I used to fight every 3 weeks when I was competing in Muay Thai. Ronda, it's going to be her 3rd fight as well in this year. So I'm glad that UFC is keeping me busy.
Zaiste, prawy dół, lewy sierp. Zmieniamy koncepcję. Hopa.
I am professional and I'm trying to be always in shape.
That's why I became a UFC fighter, and that's why I became UFC world champion, and that's why I defend my title. That's why I'm gonna defend my title so many times.
Zwłaszcza sierp, bardziej taki sierp czysty. I czas.
As if preparing for a UFC world title fight wasn't enough, Valérie Létourneau must also juggle raising a 12-year-old daughter on her own. But then again, it's a life that Valérie knows all too well. After being raised by a single mother herself.
My mom had me at 16. She was really young. She had to raise me, and she couldn't depend on anybody else than herself. There's one thing, she never waited on a man to get anything. She did it all by herself. And for my fighting career, that was the way it was. And even that's one of the reasons why I'm not with Gabby's father, because when I gave birth, I still had that in mind. He's like, come on, you're a mom. You can't be a fighter, you know? And I got really, really, really mad because I thought, man, you really don't take me seriously. No, I'm serious. I'm gonna fight. And when I left Canada, I even had some people say, you really think you're gonna get in the UFC? Hey, you wanna give me a bigger kick than that? Think I'm not gonna do it. And that just make me work harder.
Valerie she's seen it all so far, so when she's got this fight against Joanna, her confidence is high.
She is good, but the opponent she fought make her look even better.
Joanna's previous opponent, they were all scared to trade punches with her.
I know it's going to be a totally different fight.
Valerie fights back, you know, she doesn't shut down. She's not gonna crumble the first time she gets touched. You know, you see Valerie's face after most of her fights, you know, she takes a mark, she takes a beating, and she's gonna give one.
Believe me that Valerie is afraid of me. I'm too fast for all of them, you know, they're too slow for me. She's gonna feel this Polish power.
First of all, hi Melbourne.
With world title bouts on the horizon, the 4 fighters at the top of UFC 193 look ahead to the event itself.
There is no more nice and quiet Joanna.
This time I'm gonna do it right.
I could see that she's nervous. When we had face to face, I win this fight already.
This is just a little game for me, like there's nothing going on. What's gonna happen is in the octagon.
This time I'm on fire.
People want to see Ronda against somebody who has had a lengthy stand-up career. That's what kind of creates that curiosity for people, like how is this fight gonna go?
It would be a terrible choice to stand and trade with Holly. We hope she does. That would be neat, you know, try to show everybody she can box with Holly Holm. How cool would that be?
I feel very confident and comfortable with Ronda boxing Holly Holm.
The funny thing is I doubt she would ever stand and go toe-to-toe with me. Might be blonde, but I'm not stupid.